So what we'll cover in this session, so we'll just cover some of the kind of benefits of social media, how it can benefit your club as a whole. We'll run through the different platforms available. I mentioned some of them there, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, just some of the differences of those platforms and the kind of different benefits that they have for you. Again, getting to know your audience, how to interact with different groups of people and how to target different age ranges or genders or things like that. Again, how to be heard. So it's fine posting a lot of content on social media, but again, how do you make that impact and get it out there to a larger group of people? And we'll run through a wee bit of safety, some of the kind of do's and don'ts, things that you should be looking out for. And again, like I mentioned, we'll follow up with an email afterwards. So that will contain some useful resources and free tools that can help aid you on your social media journey. So the kind of main benefits of social media for your club is it will heighten its awareness out there, whether that be within the local community. It will help kind of build your club more of a profile and a kind of a site for people to visit if they're looking to gather more information on the club and what its kind of aims are and what it delivers in the local community. It allows you to build relationships with your members as well. So your existing members are important as well. It's not just about recruiting new ones. So if somebody's doing good things in the local community, or if they've won a tournament or things like that, it allows you to build relationships with your members and even constructively take feedback from them and things that could be improved at the club. Like I've kind of touched on already, it allows you to reach wider communities that you might not already be able to access. So there's a lot of people online on these different social media platforms. So again, it allows you to reach different groups of people and advertise your club out there to audiences. And the best thing about it is it's free. Some other traditional kind of advertising platforms or leaflet drops and things like that you might have used before do have cost to them. So the main thing about social media is it's free and everyone can use it.
Right, so we're going to focus on 3 of the main social media platforms in this presentation. So Facebook, Twitter and Instagram are the 3 networks that we use most as Bold Scotland and that we see clubs using most themselves. So Facebook, to start with, that's the 3rd most visited website in the world. It's got an average audience age of 25 to 34, but actually that's just the main section of the audience, but Facebook is used by all ages and people use it for everything. So whereas it used to be more just for communication with friends, people now get their news from Facebook. You can buy and sell items on Facebook, you can look for local events, and you can keep up with community groups. So for our bowling clubs, we feel that having a presence on Facebook is really important. Twitter has a similar most popular age range, that's that 25 to 34 bracket, but Twitter has much more of a news focus and it's a bit more sort of fast-paced for keeping up to date with current news. So quite often Twitter will have trending topics and they will be things that are happening sort of in the world right now. We think that would be most useful for clubs looking to share stories sort of within local newspapers, contacting local councils or groups such as active schools or community sport hubs tend to be quite active on Twitter. So we'd say that's probably where clubs would get most benefits using that account. Now, Instagram is very image and video based. It's a little bit different to the other 2. Again, it's 7th most visited website in the world, so it's very popular, but Instagram is much more popular with a younger age group. So you can see on the screen there that that's 16 to 24-year-olds most popular. So not a lot of clubs use Instagram sort of as their main way of contacting their members or new members, but it might be something to consider if you're looking in particular to increase your junior section or recruit younger members. The next slide, this might be tiny depending what screen you're on, but like Aaron said, we will send through the slides so you can have a look at it a bit more in your own time if you wanted to. But this shows the average amount of time spent each day on media and devices. And you can see in this orange one, almost 2.5 hours spent daily on social media. So it's a huge, you know, people spend a lot of time on social media, and these statistics increase quarter on quarter, year on year. So more and more people are using it. Like it or love it, social media isn't going away anytime soon. And like Darren has touched on, it's really important to get to know your audience. So that's knowing which of your existing members follow your page and how they engage with it, but also if you're looking to bring in new members. I know a lot of people on the call tonight have signed up to our Tri-Bowls clubs already this season. So if you're looking to bring in new people, it's important to think about who you want to bring in and how you're going to talk to them. And most Facebook pages and groups have insights. It is worth saying that some pages you might not be able to see the insights, and it can be dependent on number of likes on the page. There's a video coming up. If it doesn't look familiar to you to what you're used to seeing on your Facebook, I'm happy for you to drop me an email or ask in the questions section at the end of the call. But most pages should have access to something similar to what you're going to see on screen. It's really important to try not to get hung up on the numbers. Don't worry about, oh, this one got this many likes, this one got this many comments. Try to instead use the insights tools to track trends, to find out what went well, what doesn't go well, and repeat what works well. So you might find that there's a time of day that when you post at that time of day, you get much better reception to your posts. You might find that when you share a photo, you get much better response to that than if you just share text. So try to learn from trends and not just focus heavily on the numbers. So on the next slide is a pre-recorded video. Hopefully the sound will come through just fine. But like Darren said, we'll send this through after the workshop, and you can watch it again in your own time and have a little bit more look into the detail if you want to. But I'll hit play now and that will run through. Okay, so if you run a Facebook page for your club, it should look something like this. There is a little icon on the top just there that you can click on to make sure that you're interacting as your club rather than your own profile. And on the left-hand side, if you scroll through that menu, you'll see an icon for insights. Clicking on this, it brings you a page similar to this, which gives you little graphs showing number of views, number of likes, reach and engagement, and so on. You can filter that on the drop-down depending on the amount of time that you want to look at, so whether that's a month, a week, or a day. And if you hover over the icons, it gives you a little bit more data. So for example, if there's a spike, you can work out what day that refers to and maybe what post you put out, and you'll know that that was, you know, worth posting. Also on this page, there's a section called Pages to Watch, and this might be useful for clubs or districts to utilize as well. What you can do is set up other accounts to follow. So for example, we follow other bowls accounts and other governing bodies of a similar size to us, and it just helps you compare how your posts are doing with other people's. Another menu item that's useful is the People tab. Again, that's on that left-hand menu. And this page will outline your audience split up into men or women, and also by age range. And there are different tabs up on the top menu, whether that's for your followers, people who like your page, or people reached by your posts. So clicking on each of those and hovering over the bars on the table will tell you a lot more about your audience, and that's really useful when you're posting for a specific demographic. Okay, so like I said, we will make that video available via email as well, and I've done some extra notes for anyone who did want to have a look into insights. But I would recommend just having a click through to see what kind of people are engaging with your posts, who likes your page, and just have a look if there are any trends, because if there is a time of day that's good for you to post, then by sharing posts at that time, your club could reach lots more people within the community, and that in turn could help bring some new members in. Darren's just going to run through a bit more about engagement.
Yeah, thanks, Ash. So obviously that's what we asked at the start, just to get a gauge of who had social media personally and what clubs were on social media too. So once you've obviously got your page set up, you want to find out how you can engage with more people, how you can attract more people to your page and make more people aware about your club and what events you're running and things like that. Social media there isn't a concrete answer or a way to do it. It's not black and white. Different things work for different clubs. But generally across the board, between linking with clubs and going through our own personal experiences, these are the best ways that we've seen clubs kind of reach higher engagement. So first of all, on this one's kind of specific to Facebook. So a lot of towns, cities, villages, wherever it is you stay, have local community Facebook groups. So that's just a way for local people to interact with each other and make everyone aware of what's going on within your local community. So we'd highly encourage, if you're having a tribals day and you want to make people aware of it, whatever it is you're doing, is it a family day, a barbecue event, whatever it is kind of thing, you want to be posting a flyer or information on there. So for example, I stay in Prestwick in Ayrshire. I think there was a few heavy members on at the start of the call. So my local Facebook group's called Prestwick Just Saying, and it's got 10,300 members. So I could go on, if my club was holding a tribals day, post a flyer in there, and that's an audience of 10,000 people that aren't bowlers that I've then been able to reach and advertise the event to. Obviously, not all of them will turn up, but it's more and more people that you're chipping away at and trying to get down at your club. The second one is contacting local newspapers, advertisers, magazines and things like that. And again, just simply asking them if they'd be willing to share their events, whether that be in their publication or on their social media page. So again, all the kind of details or flyers that you can provide them with. And just really trying to build up that relationship with them as well. So if you're having other events on throughout the season, that they're continually wanting to come back to you, and then it's a kind of working relationship from there. And then the last one is just asking your own members to share that information on their own social media accounts as well, because lots of people have friends and family on Facebook that aren't bowlers. So social media is effectively just word of mouth marketing. So the more people that are sharing that to friends, family, passing that on, that our club's holding a tribals event, you want to come down and try it kind of thing. So yeah, it's just all about asking people to share posts, encouraging comments and tagging people in as well. So just to touch on some of the social media things, we have a page on the website as it's been linked there. So when we send the slides through, you'll be able to click through that and just read some of the information yourself. I won't run through it all in too much detail. So it's just things to be aware about, like taking pictures and posting pictures on your page and making sure that you have permission from people, and that no one's going to be kind of offended that their picture appears on there if they don't want it to. Kind of the basic is, if in doubt, leave it out, and that saves kind of any issues further down the line. But like I say, there is a policy on our website that sets things out more in detail if you were looking to read more into that. And then this one, again, this slide specific to Facebook and just the kind of information that you want to make either public or private. So we kind of advise that all clubs set up their pages public. That way it can be viewed by local community. Because the way the world works these days, if someone's walking past your club and is thinking about possibly joining, they might go home and do their homework and kind of read up information on the club social media page, see what the membership fees are like, see what the opening hours are, things like that. So if your page is public, it just makes that information more easier accessible to a wider audience of people. But we are also aware that clubs have private groups, things like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. Even clubs have private mailing lists that they email members to update them with things like. So it's just to kind of give you a split of the example of things that's useful to have on your public page, and again on a private page, whether that be a group chat or an emailing list or however you do that. So again, like I touched on just on the public page, things like your club contact details, if there's an email address, phone number, people looking to kind of gather more information and get in touch with you. Again, just your club information, what time the green's open, what time the bar's open, things like that. Again, club events, whether it be a competition, tribal event, it's a way of advertising these things to a wider mass of people. And again, photos and videos, and like I touched on in the last slide, just make sure that you have permission from the people that feature in those. And then just moving across to the private group. So if your committee's posting meetings and minutes of their meetings and things like that, again, that's not really of concern to people visiting your public Facebook page. So just keep those private, internal club agendas and things like that as well. Again, members information, a lot of clubs publish members' phone numbers and things like that if members are looking to get in touch with each other or arrange ties or whatever it may be. So again, that's obviously private contact information, so you don't really want that appearing on your public social media page. And then again, things like ties draws and things like that, you can make people aware that the ties are drawn in the club, but again, it's not really of too much interest to those on your public page.
Thanks, Darren. The next couple of slides are just having a look at photos and imagery. So Darren's already touched on the permissions with photographs. Have you got permission of the person in your photos? Especially with children, just make sure that you've got a parent or a guardian's permission, that they're happy for photos to be shared. It's really important to think about the image of bowls that we give out when we share photos. We do that a lot as Bowls Scotland, making sure that we make the sport look fun, we make it look modern. We try to steer away from the stereotypes that a lot of non-bowlers might have of kind of that older man's sport. So do the same thing with your club photos. Just take pictures from, you know, the fun open days, from your hat nights. And we've got a few slides now just to go through some examples of what might be a good thing to share and what might be a bad thing. For those of you that have signed up for Try Bowls and asked for the resource pack, there's also a more in-depth guide on photography and imagery with some ideas on how to take the photos and more on what to look out for with the photos that you share. So this first one, hopefully they're big enough for you to see on screen, but again, you will get a copy of the slides so you can zoom in if you need to when you get those through. This is a picture from Yoka last year at one of our Intro to Bowls courses. So this picture shows male and female bowlers, and they're wearing casual, colourful clothing. So that's a good thing for a non-bowler to see. It seems more approachable for them that there's no set uniform. They'd feel fairly comfortable sort of walking into that environment. And there's smiles on the faces, there's big grand gestures, they're having fun, they're playing games. The only bad thing that I've picked out for that one is that the background's a bit busy. There's a lot of scaffolding in the background of the bowling green. But overall, we think that photo sort of demonstrates a fun, modern image of the sport. And next up, we've got a family photo. So this is good because obviously the family playing together demonstrates the multi-generational aspect of bowls. There's all generations playing together in this picture. Again, there's colourful clothing and casual clothing. There's bright equipment on the green and they're throwing, you know, blue and red bowls as opposed to the stereotypical black ones. And again, lots of smiles. You can see the grandma there looking down fondly on her grandson playing. So that it makes it look fun, it makes it look enjoyable. And I think if non-bowlers saw that on social media, they'd think it looks like something they'd want to have a go at as well. Back to you, Darren.
So yeah, just some of the basic do's and don'ts, some kind of key things to take away. So obviously for social media, can I be reactive to situations? We see a lot of clubs that have social media pages that haven't been updated in a while or haven't posted in a while. obviously throughout the season there's a lot of different things happening, so you want to kind of try and maximise that. So just be reactive to situations. Again, create conversations, whether that be with your members or local community. So if your club had an event at the weekend, you know, ask for feedback, ask your members to kind of give the pros and cons of what was happening. It makes them feel involved in the club. It will help you improve for future events and things like that. So it's a really easy way of creating and gathering feedback. Again, like we've touched on quite a few times, interact with your local community. So things like the local Facebook groups and things like that. It is just a really easy way of advertising your club and the sport as a whole, and to try and interact with getting new people into the sport. I've already touched on the posting regularly throughout the season, so there's a lot happening. Clubs have events on, social events, national championships, county association games and things like that. So just try and make sure that you're topped up on posting quite regular content. And again, encourage sharing and commenting from your members. It's a good way for them to interact with each other personally. And like Ash has just ran through there, images is key to breaking down barriers and stereotypes in the sport. So the images that you use will have a really big benefit on the way that your posts are interacted with. And then just some of the don'ts, obviously posting irrelevant information or some negative stuff going on. If there's obviously kind of people that need to be spoken to, try and do that privately rather than putting it across your social media page and letting the rest of the world see that. Obviously it doesn't shine the club in a good light, and it's not going to encourage people to come down to the club either. And again, just kind of poor grammar and spelling. So that's the beauty of things like Microsoft Word these days. Before you're posting, it will check all that for you. There's nothing worse than reading something and it's got spelling and grammar mistakes. It just makes you click away. So that's kind of some of the quick do's and don'ts.
So we just wanted to point everyone to Canva. I'm not sure if people will have heard of this. Some clubs might use it already, but Canva is a graphic design tool. You can sign up for a free account. You just pop your email address in and you can have access to lots of templates, sort of graphics and materials. There is also a section called Canva Play where you don't even have to put in your email address to have a go. So I really would suggest to anyone looking to make eye-catching posters, somebody who's just sort of starting out or trying to breathe new life into their Facebook or social media page. If you want to overlay text onto your photos or things like that, you can really go from basic graphics up to, you know, high level stuff. There's loads of templates for all different sizes. So you could make a Facebook banner, you could do Instagram posts, you could have leaflets, posters, flyers. And there's links on the next page, so you can just click straight through when you get the information pack that we email over. On the screen there, you should be able to see a poster that Baron's made for Troon for his open competition. So you can see that he's been able to put in his own photos of the club. He's obviously split up the text and used lots of different sizes and made it colourful and eye-catching. You can start with a blank canvas and make your own posters, your own designs, or you can use a real wide range of templates that are already in there. And like I said, it's a free tool, and I just really would recommend if you're looking to brighten things up or put your club colours or your club logo on something, just have a go with Canva and see what you can create. So I've mentioned already the top two links. So the top one there will prompt you to pop in an email address and create your own account for Canva. But the second link for Canva Play, you can just click on that and it will straight away sort of let you open up a design template and start creating. So if you're not sure about popping your email in and what you're signing up for, just have a go on that one. The next three links are just sort of useful reports and statistics and information. One of them's got sort of a dictionary of all the social media terms, you know, what are impressions, what is engagement. So if you're interested into reading a bit more, those are the ones for you. The last link there is for Business Gateway. I filtered that link just for their social media workshops, but Business Gateway offer lots of free courses and webinars all over Scotland on a huge range of topics. They've also got a resources section on their website. So if you don't have sort of the time to commit to webinars or online courses, then just have a look in the resources section, and there might be some information there that you can look through in your own time. And finally, if you're looking through your own social media of an evening, just scrolling, think about what captured your eye, because if something stopped you scrolling, you might be able to do something similar from your bowling club. And it's just about the things that catch your attention. If you see another account use something that you like or post a video, think if you could make a similar video from your club, and just, yeah, learn from others.
So yeah, just to round up before we jump into any of the questions that you might have. So just some key things to remember from the session. Just first of all, Facebook is your friend. Obviously, we ran through a couple of the different platforms as well, but Facebook seems to be the one where bowling clubs are able to make the biggest impact with people, just with age demographics and things like that. And it is the social media site that most people use. So that seems to be the site that has the most success for clubs and the one that allows them to make the biggest impact online. Like I've touched on again, probably bored of hearing it. So continue to engage with your members in the local community. Is a really easy way of getting your club's information out there and making more people aware of what your club is delivering. Like Ash has touched on, the graphics and photos is an easy way to make information concise and stop people reading paragraphs and paragraphs of information. So things like flyers, a really easy way of making things eye-catching and letting people see information in one place. And again, stay positive and patient. So social media, once you've got your page set up and running, isn't an overnight job, but with kind of persistence in over a 2 or 3 year period, you will begin to see kind of your engagement grow, and it will benefit your club in the long run, undoubtedly. And then we've just added in our contact details there at the end. So again, if you want to have a private conversation with either of us after this session, or something you go away and think about, or something that you think wasn't covered in the session, you can, contact us via email or phone, and we'll be happy to clear those up for you. So